If chart analysts are right, XRP might just change your life way sooner than you'd expect. I'm excited to share what 13 different XRP chart analysts are saying in this video. Honestly, I'm struggling to keep up with all these numbers and predictions. There's incredible buzz around XRP right now. The market's on fire and momentum is building fast. Trying to track all these different chart analysts the way I do it, it's genuinely challenging. But hey, I'm giving it my all because you deserve the best insights I can gather. I really believe it's crucial to hear from a wide range of respected chart analysts and get that full picture. What keeps surprising me, and I'm about to show you some fresh new posts from various analysts, is just how consistent these patterns are looking. Every single one of them, and I mean literally every XRP chart analyst weighing in on this, is saying the same thing. XRP is gearing up for another massive run. No exceptions. I get it. We literally just watched an incredible surge. Remember that wild ride from around $2.80 all the way up to $3.65. That was absolutely thrilling to watch unfold. But here's the thing, we're apparently not done yet, not even close. If these chart analysts have it right, we're looking at something that could be absolutely game-changing. When I say this could transform your life faster than you imagine, here's why. We're potentially at the end of this cycle. If they're spot on, this final explosive move we're building toward, this could be the big one, the finale we've all been waiting for. Now, when I say final burst, don't picture this happening overnight. We're talking about something that could unfold over several weeks. You know, take the blockchain backer, for example. Just the other day, he mentioned that this entire XRP rally all the way to the peak might wrap up in the next 2 weeks. But hold on, I don't want to misquote him here. He wasn't making any promises or bold predictions. He was simply looking at where things stand right now and sharing what's possible based on current conditions. That's exactly the kind of insight I keep hearing from every chart analyst who's willing to share their thoughts. And here's what I've noticed over time. When you get this kind of consensus among XRP chart analysts, when they're all pointing in the same direction with similar observations, their collective predictions tend to play out. Like almost every single time. Just think back to those days. Actually, it was more than just a few days leading up to XRP's amazing run to $3.65. Remember how all the chart analysts were practically shouting from the rooftops? Like the activity levels from these XRP analysts were off the charts. That kind of unified excitement, it's actually pretty rare. You don't see that level of consensus very often, and I'm telling you, like, there's definitely something real about this whole technical analysis approach. I mean it. When you take the time to gather insights from a wide variety of analysts, you start picking up on patterns like this. That's exactly why I put in the effort to dig through all these different perspectives for you. I think you're really going to enjoy what we dive into in this video. But before we go any further, let me be crystal clear about something important. I don't have any financial background whatsoever. I'm absolutely not giving financial advice here, and you should never buy or sell anything based on what I say or write. Just so you know where we stand as I'm recording this, XRP is sitting at $3.45 and Bitcoin is at $117,224. Check out this post from Chart Analyst Detective, and wow, has he been on fire with his posting lately? Usually this guy will go quiet for long stretches between posts, but not right now because things are absolutely heating up everywhere. No matter where I look, whether it's dedicated XRP chart analysts or just general crypto chart analysts talking about the current market state, I'm seeing the exact same message over and over again. It's go time, folks. There's just no other way to put it. We're in that moment right now. So check this out. Here's what TechDev posted to his massive 536,000 followers. He kept it beautifully simple. 4 years of altcoin compression is releasing, and you can literally see it happening right before our eyes. We're watching this break out of the triangle pattern, and get this, this is the longest compression we've ever seen in crypto history for altcoins. It's actually breaking out right now. Everywhere you turn, the signs are just staring you in the face. If you're positioned well in crypto with solid exposure and you've put in enough, this could genuinely be the moment that changes everything for you financially. Like, we're talking about a completely different quality of life moving forward. That's honestly where we are right now. Here's what chart analyst Mikey Bull Crypto just shared. And it's backed by data from Glassnode, one of the top on-chain analytics firms out there. You're looking at their chart right on your screen, and honestly, these guys do incredible work. They're completely data-driven, which I absolutely love. Glassnode and Santiment are hands down my go-to sources for on-chain analytics. They just nail it every time. So when Mikey Bull Crypto shares their work and writes Glassnode alt season indicator just fired, that carries serious weight. And yes, he wrote massive in all caps. He's been doing that more often lately, but that's just his style when he gets fired up. I totally get it because I'm feeling that same excitement, and you should be too. This is the real deal unfolding right in front of us. Alt season is clearly heading in the right direction, my friends. Check out what the blockchain backer posted this morning. He's clearly excited about what he's seeing. He said, "We'll get the weekly close today, and it's been awesome watching the market stay green all week long." Here's what's really interesting though. Even while Bitcoin had a red week, the total cryptocurrency market cap still went up. That means fresh money flowed into the market, and guess where it went? Straight into altcoins. He absolutely loves seeing this happen. And honestly, so do I. This is exactly the kind of thing you'd hope and expect to see at this point in the cycle. And it's actually playing out just like that. When he mentions we get the close today, I think he's talking about the daily close that chart analysts focus on. Though I should mention I'm not a chart expert myself, so don't take my word as gospel on the technical stuff. So here we are with XRP sitting at $3.45, and assuming nothing crazy happens in the next 15 minutes, we're looking at something pretty amazing. This would mark the fourth day in a row that XRP closes above its all-time high from January. 4 days straight, and on the weekly chart, it's looking absolutely solid. We're in a really good spot right now, folks. I mean, knock on wood and all that, but I seriously doubt XRP is going to suddenly crash hard in the next quarter hour. Sure, it's crypto. Anything can happen in this wild space. But honestly, we're positioned beautifully right now. The strength we're seeing from XRP is just incredible. And here's where things get really exciting. Check out this Bitcoin dominance chart. Look at this beauty. Bitcoin dominance has dropped to 60.81%. This chart only goes back a month, but wow, what a story it tells. Just about a month ago, Bitcoin dominance was sitting at 66.11%. We're talking about a drop of over 5% in just 1 month. And honestly, most of that decline has happened in the last week or so. We're talking just a handful of days here, and it's been absolutely dramatic. I mean, seriously, look at that drop. It's like watching it fall off a cliff, and this is happening at exactly the time you'd hope and expect based on everything we've seen historically. It's actually happening right before our eyes. When altcoins take center stage, this is how you get a full-blown alt season. You know, this is what we've all been waiting for. Because let's be honest, this is where the real money gets made, not with Bitcoin at this stage of the game. The serious profits, that's in the altcoin space right now. No question about it. Here's what chart analyst Rect Capital just posted, and this is Ethereum's dominance chart that you're looking at. Check this out. I'm highlighting this because historically, when Ethereum starts taking off like this, it's basically the signal that alt season is really getting into full swing. And look at it go. I remember just a few months ago, everyone was saying Ethereum was dead, right? Well, clearly it wasn't actually dead at all. Look at this thing rallying like absolute crazy. Ethereum's price is sitting at $3,746 right now. Yeah, I'd definitely say it's alive and kicking. So Rect Capital wrote about Ethereum dominance. Words are getting hard to form when you're this excited about what's happening. Ethereum dominance has climbed to just under 12% for the first time in 5 years. Can you believe that? The last time Ethereum dominance pushed beyond 11% was exactly 5 years ago, back in July 2020. Now it's gearing up to break into what he's calling the green circled phase, which means we're looking at continued upward movement. Do you see how Absolutely everything is lining up perfectly right now. Look, even if you don't own any ETH and couldn't care less about Ethereum specifically, you've got to step back and look at the bigger picture here. This is fantastic news if you're holding XRP. All of these pieces moving together create the perfect storm we've been waiting for. And honestly, history has this beautiful way of repeating itself, or at least rhyming with the past. None of this should really surprise anyone who's been paying attention to the patterns. Check out this post from XRP community member Crypto Arsenal, and this is huge. He says, in unrelated news, XRP dominance is back testing a range that hasn't been broken since Q4 2019. Look at that purple bar range on the chart. XRP dominance was sitting at 5.39% when he posted this just this afternoon at 12:37 p.m. Central Time. And here's the thing, you know it's going to blast right through that resistance, right? As far as I'm concerned, that's pretty much a given at this point. We're looking at XRP dominance potentially doubling, maybe even tripling from here. And you know what that means for the actual price? We're talking about XRP's price potentially doubling or tripling from where it sits right now. But honestly, I think it could be way more than that. What I just mentioned is based on the current total market cap. But think about this. If the overall crypto market cap doubles during this run, then XRP's price would be even higher than just a double or triple. We could be looking at something like 6 times where it is right now. I honestly have no idea where this thing is going to peak. And just to be crystal clear, that's not me making a prediction here. But here's the thing. XRP has been held back artificially for so long. Now we finally have a level playing field. And the fundamentals for XRP have literally never been stronger than they are right now. It's playing serious catch up, and there's no denying that. I am absolutely thrilled to see how this cycle plays out. I seriously cannot wait to find out what happens next. Look, in general terms, there are certain things I feel pretty darn confident are going to happen. Not like I can guarantee it, but I'm talking about really high conviction here. And one of those things, this absolutely mind-blowing price discovery phase we're heading into, I genuinely believe this is going to be life-changing, not just for me, but for so many of you listening right now. That's honestly what I see coming our way. I get it. Nothing in life is ever 100% guaranteed, but I really think we're looking at some seriously high probabilities here. The timing just makes sense for all of this to unfold now. And here's what's getting me even more excited. Tons of analysts are saying this altcoin rally is going to blow 2021 completely out of the water. Here's what Credible Crypto posted this afternoon, and it's so spot on. Guys, remember when Ethereum was dead? I do. I remember. And boy, do I remember too. I talked about this constantly when everyone was declaring Ethereum dead, especially back in April. It had bottomed out around $1,400. And I kept saying over and over that price alone doesn't tell you whether a coin is actually dead or not. Sometimes the market just completely undervalues assets. It happens. And when it does, you get people who just don't get it. They look at a low price and their brain immediately goes, well, the price is low, so obviously it's dead. That's literally how their thinking works. Low price equals dead project. And then on the flip side, when the market goes absolutely bonkers because everyone's caught up in pure euphoria, suddenly it's, oh, price is high. It must be amazing now. Come on, people, take a breath, relax a little bit there, champ. That's exactly how these overly simplistic minds work, and it's honestly pretty ridiculous. No, price by itself doesn't tell you the whole story. Sometimes markets get completely overheated and bubbles start forming. XRP has definitely been in bubble territory before, and you know what? That's where the real opportunity lies. When things get into that bubble zone, that's when you can actually cash out after holding for years and years. That's literally what I'm here for. Those moments when patience finally pays off in a massive way. Absolutely. So Credible Crypto shared this brilliant post. It's actually from one of his own posts way back on September 13th of last year. Now remember, XRP was getting absolutely trashed and called a dead coin at that time. But I kept pushing back, saying, no way, it's not dead at all. It was just priced really low against Bitcoin. You know, it had been trending down against Bitcoin for years and years. But here's the thing. These are exactly the moments when XRP typically finds its bottom and then completely flips the script. And guess what? I was totally right. I mean, of course I was. There's clear historical precedent for exactly this kind of turnaround. Credible Crypto understood this too, which is why his perspective on Ethereum and Solana is so valuable. He nailed it when he said dead coins is totally misused in this space. People look at anything that hasn't pumped yet and is sitting at multi-month lows and immediately declare it dead. I mean, people were calling Solana dead when it was at $3. Let's just take a moment here to check Solana's price. It's sitting at $181 right now. Remember when everyone said Solana was completely dead? Yeah, I sure do remember that nonsense. Credible Crypto puts it perfectly. If a coin has strong fundamentals, utility, solid tokenomics, and is growing, then it's not dead just because it hasn't pumped yet. It's an opportunity. Exactly. That's literally what I was shouting from the rooftops throughout all of 2024. XRP had the strongest fundamentals we'd ever seen. And then guess what happened? It pumped, because that's what markets do when something's been seriously undervalued. Since then, we've watched XRP's fundamentals not just improve, but absolutely explode. We're talking increased utility, massive adoption growth, publicly traded companies adding XRP as a treasury reserve asset, using it in actual payment flows. The list goes on, plus all this tokenization happening on the XRP ledger. T-bills, money market funds, you name it. These aren't just pipe dreams. This stuff is actually happening right now. But somehow we were supposed to believe that just because XRP's price was low, it was dead. Even with all this incredible development going on, give me a break. What a bunch of complete nonsense from people who clearly don't know what they're talking about. Check out this latest post from Credible Crypto. It's showing the XRP/BTC chart. And wow, what a story it tells. You can see XRP was struggling to break above this key trend line for a while. Look at this. XRP versus Bitcoin tried 5 times and failed every single attempt. Like I mentioned before, every time it hit that line and got rejected, it actually made the resistance weaker because more and more people kept selling at those exact levels. So naturally, it gets weaker and weaker with each test until finally, boom, you can blast right through it. And on the 6th try, oh man, we absolutely demolished it. Just look at that breakout. Remember when we were way down here? I was sharing earlier versions of this same chart before we had all this fresh data, because this explosion literally just happened this month. We were stuck down there and I kept saying, guys, at some point, this thing is going to break through. We're going to get back up to these levels. Well, guess what? It just happened. This isn't rocket science. It was actually pretty obvious if you knew what to look for, and you've got to love this. He threw in that classic meme with Gandalf saying, "You shall not pass." It's from Lord of the Rings, or as he jokingly calls it, Dork Quest. Now he's been calling this resistance level the Gandalf line and all that fun stuff. So he wrote, Gandalf smashed about 15% to the range highs now. Not sure if we will chop around a bit here or just rip through. Either way, XRP looking solid overall. Do you see that? This is exactly in line with everything else I keep seeing from analysts across the board. Now, some analysts are super optimistic and think we're just going to absolutely rip higher from here. But Credible Crypto's taking what's probably a more realistic approach. He's just acknowledging that, hey, it's totally possible we could start absolutely tearing to the upside literally today, tomorrow, or at any moment. But even if we don't rip right away, so what? Fine, we might chop around sideways for a little bit longer. We're still going to absolutely tear to the upside eventually. Either way, we win. It's really just a question of timing. Do we have to wait just a tiny bit longer, or do we get the fireworks show right now? You know how it is? Ask 5 different analysts and you'll get 5 different answers about the exact timing. But here's the beautiful thing. They all agree on the one thing that really matters. It's going to happen, period. They might not see eye to eye on whether it's more likely to be next week or next month, but every single one of them believes this explosive move is coming. Here's a post from chart analyst Shibo. I'm not super familiar with this guy, but he's got a pretty solid following with 89,300 followers on X. Yesterday, he dropped this bombshell. XRP will smash $5 in the next 7 days. This is your final warning. Now, look, I've said this countless times. There's no analyst out there who can nail market timing consistently, but I've got to respect that level of conviction, especially where we're sitting right now in this cycle. And here's the thing. I've been seeing similar bold statements from tons of analysts lately. I've been sharing them here on my channel all the time. It's not that these guys have some crystal ball telling them exactly when things will pop off, but they can all see that XRP is so incredibly primed right now that it's totally reasonable to think it could explode at any moment. I mean, at the very least, that kind of speculation makes complete sense given the setup we're looking at. So Crypto Insight UK reposted that and simply said probs TBH, meaning probably, to be honest. He's basically agreeing with the prediction without making it his own official call. You know, he's not making any promises or putting his reputation on the line, but he's saying, yeah, probably within the next 7 days, we're going to watch XRP smash right through $5. This is exactly why I said at the beginning of this video that XRP could change your life way faster than you think if these chart analysts are right, of course. Then someone named XRP Scotland, his name's Will, jumped in and said, "Wooka, Will, that's mega bullish. Just need to stay above $3.40 and then the bulls will take over." Crypto Insight UK fired back with, "I think we have a big push coming." And here's what I want to emphasize again. Literally every XRP analyst I follow is saying this exact same thing, or at least some version of it. This kind of universal agreement, it's definitely not normal. When they're all on the same page like this, they end up being right almost 100% of the time. I'm talking about the vast majority of occasions when you see this level of consensus. Check out this post from Don Alt. He's a massively popular analyst with 675,000 followers. Now, here's the funny thing about this guy. He absolutely hates XRP. Like, seriously can't stand it. But you know what? When it comes to actual chart analysis, he seems to be pretty intellectually honest about what he's seeing. Of course, since he hates XRP, that just means he's completely wrong about the project itself. And honestly, it makes me question some of his other analytical skills, but credit where credit's due. When it comes to pure charting, he seems to do decent work. And guess what? Even he thinks XRP could be breaking out right now. He posted this just this morning, basically saying this could be the moment where it's time to start rocketing up again. Just like we saw a few days ago, he's thinking it might be time for another explosive move higher. I keep seeing this same message everywhere I look. It's really jumping out at me that virtually every analyst, even the ones who hate XRP, are all saying some version of the exact same thing. Here's a post from chart analyst Jelly. And by the way, this guy is absolutely fantastic at what he does, but he doesn't usually talk about XRP at all. The fact that XRP has grabbed everyone's attention like this, that tells you everything you need to know. So Jelly said, XRP chilling above previous all-time highs like this tells me it won't be trading below $4 for much longer. Looks ready for another run as early as tomorrow. Again, do you see the theme here? It's the same message over and over and over again. And I absolutely love seeing this kind of consensus. Then there's chart analyst Zoom saying 4 XRP will be here soon. I know this probably sounds like a broken record at this point, but these are all completely different analysts saying essentially the same thing. This is definitely not normal behavior. You just don't see this kind of universal agreement very often, and that's exactly why this is so exciting. I know what it means when analysts align like this. I honestly don't think we're going to have to wait much longer at all. You might literally just wake up tomorrow or any day really, and boom, it's taking off again. Here's what 24 hours crypto posted. XRP is going to $4 within the next 36 hours. Okay, I've already shared my thoughts about chart analysts making these specific time predictions. None of them can nail the timing consistently. That's just the reality of markets. But like I said, since we're sitting in this incredible moment right now, it's totally reasonable to think it could pop off at literally any time. Just take these time predictions for what they're worth. You know, whenever I see analysts throwing out exact time frames like this, I usually just roll my eyes a bit. Even when they're really solid chart analysts, I'm thinking, come on, really? But here's where it gets interesting. There are definitely ways this can be different. If an analyst is basing their timing on solid historical precedent, saying something like, hey, here's what happened in the past, and if the same pattern plays out again, here's what that timeline typically looks like. Well, I have zero problem with that approach. I don't roll my eyes at that kind of analysis at all. When they're pointing to actual historical patterns and saying, if history repeats like this, here's the time frame we're looking at. That's legitimate analysis worth considering. Exactly. That kind of historical analysis is totally fine because it's not even really a prediction. They're just saying, if things play out this way, here's what we might expect. But when someone makes a super bold, specific price prediction like this, I'm just thinking, come on, man. But then he goes on to say, if you're still waiting for $2, you're completely brain dead. That opportunity is gone. It's over. $4, $5, $6, $7 onwards. So he's basically saying we're about to hit all those price levels soon. And he posted this just this morning, meaning within 36 hours from that point. And you know what? He honestly could be right. We really are sitting at that perfect moment where XRP could just start absolutely ripping again at any second. Check out this post from chart analyst Crypto Wizard on the XRP/USD chart. He's pretty pumped about his latest call. Delivered again. I called for a God candle and the heavens delivered. As called, XRP has printed a ginormous candle. Boy, oh boy, Wizards are enjoying the ride up, plus 73.31% from this call. He's sharing one of his posts from way back on July 13th. So honestly, credit where credit's due. That's a pretty solid call. Then he says, another wonderful, wonderful call. Please prepare for $4.50. There we go again, folks. Yet another analyst saying we're about to hit $4.50, and he's talking short term here. This isn't him suggesting that's where it peaks. None of these analysts are making that argument at all. He's talking about the immediate move to get this party rolling again, and then from there, it keeps on trucking. Here's what chart analyst CW posted. XRP has no resistance. If whales just push the price up, the rise will be rapid. I've actually been hearing this exact same take from several different chart analysts lately. They're all saying there's really not much resistance above us, at least not immediately. So given that setup, if we just get some fresh demand coming in, and we did hit some buyer exhaustion recently, but if new demand shows up, we could just start absolutely ripping upward because there aren't many people looking to sell at the various price levels above us. When the order books are thin like that, yeah, you can literally just melt upward. That's the whole point of what he's getting at. He's basically saying there's no real notable resistance where we're sitting right now. It's more about seller exhaustion than anything else. You know, we've kind of run out of people wanting to dump their bags at these levels. I've been seeing the same argument from quite a few analysts recently, and it makes a lot of sense. Here's what chart analyst Defender posted. XRP is maintaining its strength at the same level as it was in November last week. Could you please check the MACD figures? And of course, MACD, in case you're wondering, is totally the freshest hip hop artist on the scene today. Just kidding, obviously. But seriously, he's laying out some interesting resistance levels. $3.61, then $5.85, $9.76, and way up at $18.22 and $23. For support, he's looking at $3.33 and $3. So according to him, once we punch through $3.61, and some other analysts are saying it's more like $3.50, but hey, they can duke it out over those details if they want, but it's roughly in that range. Then he's saying the next real resistance we'd hit is all the way up at $5.85. That's a pretty decent gap between resistance levels, which brings us right back to that melt upward scenario, my friends. Here's a post I've got 3 posts from this guy, chart analyst, the great Matsby, showing the XRP/USD chart. Well, you can see he's highlighting the Bollinger Bands here, those blue lines with the lower and upper boundaries. Notice how they're getting super tight right now. When Bollinger Bands squeeze together like this, it's basically screaming that an explosive move is coming. Now, the bands themselves don't tell you whether that move will be up or down. But here's the thing. We're in a bull market. I'd argue that when this thing finally breaks out, it's going up, not down. This exact same pattern played out last cycle and the cycle before that in 2017. It also happened in 2024 when the Bollinger Bands got the tightest they'd been in XRP's entire history. So here's what the great Matsby said. XRP is experiencing a re-expansion of the monthly Bollinger Bands. Similar to 2017, during that period of continued expansion, XRP surged by an additional 1,300%. Can history repeat? Oh, maybe. Just maybe. He also shared this follow-up post on the XRP/USD chart where he says, just to clarify, a 1,300% increase would align perfectly with the green level of my GAN analysis targeting approximately $45. What do all the XRP haters have to say about that potential? Okay, look, I'm not going to sit here and say it's impossible for XRP to hit $45 this cycle. I mean, stranger things have happened in crypto, right? But I've got to be honest with you. I don't think that's even remotely probable. That's just my honest take on it. But hey, I could be completely wrong. I don't have some massive ego about this stuff. If I turn out to be dead wrong and we actually see 45 XRP this cycle, I'll just shrug and say, well, I guess my gut feeling was off. No big deal. I'm not married to any particular idea here, so it wouldn't be hard for me to admit I was wrong. I'm just being real with you, though. I know we'd all absolutely love to see 45 XRP this cycle. That would be absolutely incredible, but I honestly have serious doubts about that happening. But even me, being the conservative guy when it comes to price expectations, even I have to admit it's not literally impossible, you know. Then here's another post from the great Matsby where he says, I overlaid the fractal from April 2017 onto the price action starting from October 2024. And so far it's aligning perfectly. If this pattern continues to hold, the price could reach a top of approximately $20, not $45. Let's see what happens. So it really depends on which analysis you're looking at. I honestly don't know which one he has more conviction in. The GAN analysis pointing to $45 or this fractal overlay suggesting $20. Both are his work. So it's interesting to see the different approaches giving different targets. But here's the thing, $20 doesn't sound remotely crazy to me. Like, if that actually happens, I honestly wouldn't be shocked at all. If XRP hits $20, that honestly wouldn't surprise me at all. That feels totally reasonable given everything we're seeing. Then the great Matsby dropped this gem. People don't realize that XRP had an 800% monthly candle following that continued Bollinger Band expansion. Chart analyst XR Punky jumped in and responded, this is also why I've been saying a 26 to 33 XRP is possible this cycle. Anything more than this is bonus. You know what? I think that's a pretty fair take right there. $26 to $33, man, that would be absolutely life-changing for so many people. That would be buck wild, honestly. And again, I have no idea if it'll actually happen, but it's not crazy. It really isn't. Trust me, I'll tell you straight up if I think something's completely nuts. So I'm not shy about calling out ridiculous predictions. And if somebody starts throwing around 100 XRP for this cycle, I'm like, yeah, you've lost your damn mind. This cycle, you've absolutely lost it. I'm not saying it can't happen at some point way down the road, but this cycle, hell no, not a snowball's chance in hell, my friend. But $26 to $33, that's in the realm of possibility, and it would still be absolutely incredible. Here's an interesting update from chart analyst Mikey Bull Crypto on the XRP/USD chart. He's pointing out that XRP's current movement is looking a lot like the 2017 cycle playbook. A lot of analysts have mentioned this before, and I've talked about it on the channel too. It's a pattern worth noting. Here's the gist. In 2017, we saw a big first pump, about 6 months of consolidation, and then a second, even bigger pump. And right now, it looks like that second major pump for XRP has officially started. It's important to remember that these pumps don't happen all in one day. For example, back in 2017, the second pump took about 2.5 weeks to play out. That's what Mikey is highlighting here, a familiar pattern that could be unfolding again. Wow, what an exciting time to be an XRP holder. Honestly, I can't even remember exactly how long the first part of this journey has been, but who cares? Things are looking so good right now. There's never been a better moment to be part of this. It's just awesome stuff happening all around. Oh, and as I'm wrapping this up, it's 7:07 p.m. right now, if I'm correct. that the charts close at 7 p.m., then we just hit our fourth straight day with XRP holding above its previous all-time high. How amazing is that? Take that, toxic Bitcoin maximalists. Seriously, it feels so good to be an XRP holder right now. You've got to love it. There's so much going on that it's hard to keep up with everything being shared. I'm doing my best to stay on top of it all, but let me tell you, this wave of information is almost overwhelming. It's like a nonstop flood, but in the best way possible. I'm not complaining. This is all part of the fun. I'll check back in with you all soon. Hang tight and let's enjoy the ride. I'll keep you updated on what the top chart analysts in the XRP community are saying. It's looking pretty exciting right now. Honestly, this isn't the usual market vibe, but we're at the tail end of a bull market, and that's where things get really fun. This is the time when wild, life-changing price action happens, and I couldn't be more excited to experience it with you all. I hope you're just as pumped as I am because this is a huge moment. We're really here. Just a quick reminder though, I'm not a financial advisor, so please don't make any buying or selling decisions based solely on what I say or write. Always do your own research. Trust me, it's super important.